to another episode of the Rocking Midlife Podcast. And you are in for an absolute treat today. I have the wonderful Gloria Carpenter coming all the way from the USA. She's going to tell you more about herself as we get going. And we're already laughing because we kind of just hit Zoom and started chatting like we were old mates for years because we've just kind of connected. And I know you are going to love Gloria's energy and passion and zest for life. So, hi, Gloria. Lovely to
Hi,
have you
Kat.
here.
So great to be here.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to our chat. Really briefly, folks, Gloria is a best-selling author of Power Up Your Dreams. Don't you love that name? And moving from self-defeat to self-belief. So I'm going to let her just explain all of this herself. But she is a certified Dreambuilder life coach. She's a motivational speaker, which like you'll go duh when you see her in action. And get this, she is a professional singer in the New York area. I love this. This lady, I'm going to say it up front. This lady is 63. Again, if you're watching the YouTube, you're going to be a bit shocked at that. Full of life and is a professional singer out there doing it. And being an ex-professional muso myself, I'm just like, yay, this is my person. So welcome, Gloria. And before we go on though, make sure if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on Apple, please make sure subscribe, leave a review, share this out because this episode is going to encourage so many other midlifers. So Gloria, tell us about yourself. It's just so exciting to have you here.
Well, I'm just so humbled to be here, Kat, because I've watched your podcast. I know what you teach. You and I are like kindred spirits in the way that we see life, we view life. Everything is not rosy to begin with, but there's a gift and a lesson in everything that we go through.
Tell us a little bit about your story. Like I read your background story. So it's really good for people to know that this vibrant performer who looks like she's got it all together didn't come from a place of being all together, did you?
Au contraire. Yes,
Yeah.
very, very different. Well, like most of us that grew up in the 60s and 70s, we came from dysfunctional families. And most of them, well, I was the only one in my neighborhood that actually knew that I didn't have a normal family because
Wow.
all of my friends had parents that were loving and supportive. And my parents had divorced. And at the age of 2, I was given over to a daycare center because my mother became a single parent. My father was working, but he didn't have money to give. He just abandoned the family pretty much. So I did not, from a very, very young age, feel worthy of being here. I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel lovable. I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel like I fit in. I was very, very shy.
Yeah.
Very shy. Thank God for my mother, though. But because she would pick me up after she came home from her work and bring me home, and she was not emotionally there available to me, but at least she provided for us as far as having a house to live in and
Yeah.
reaching out to her parents for money or whatever she needed. I have 2 other siblings, and coming from a broken family, very, very difficult.
Yeah.
I was in a very dark space, but I was born with a passion for dancing and singing, and that aliveness that I felt put a great big smile on my face.
Wow. So
So I
how
was,
early were you? Sorry, how young were you when you sort of realized that you had that passion?
I think it was when I was about 9 years old, maybe a little bit younger, because there was a show on TV called The Night at the Bijou. I don't know if
Yeah.
you have that in New
I don't know
Zealand.
that one. No, no.
Okay, but they always showed black and white movies. This is before color TV.
Yeah.
A lot of your listeners will will
I
resonate
remember
with that
black
when
and white TV. Yeah.
and we had to turn the dial, get up out of the couch, turn the dial. We didn't have
Yes.
remotes. But but there was a show that had all old-time musicals with Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, Esther Williams jumping into the pool, and it was
Yes.
just mad.
Yes.
It was just magical. And
They
I'm like,
were.
I want to do that. I want to do that. So I begged my mother at 9 years old to put me into dancing school, and she mustered it up. And from there on, it was like, I love this. And as much pain as I was going through, especially when my father left I grew up in Connecticut and then I moved to New York. Now I'm in New Jersey, but my father left when I was 10,
Oh
moved out to
gosh.
California. And he wasn't ready to be a father in retrospect. But when you're a kid, you expect
Yeah.
to have somebody there for you. And I didn't have a father figure, and that messed me up big
Mm.
time. As far as choosing the right men for me, I would be attracted to men that couldn't commit subconsciously,
Yeah.
and it was just a whole big psychological mess that I was in, but my passions kept me going.
It must have been challenging for your mother as a single mother, trying to
Mm.
raise kids, put food on the table, to come up with tuition fees for dance and singing. Kudos to her for making that happen for you.
And she gave me braces.
Oh
So I don't
wow.
know. I don't know how she did it, but I mean, she's on the
Gosh.
other side, right? She's on the other side, but
Yeah.
thank you, mom, for,
Yeah.
for doing that, because that kept me going through life. There was
Yeah.
a time when I was 16 that I really wanted to commit suicide.
Oh my
I
gosh.
just
Yeah.
didn't want to be here.
Hmm.
So it was very painful. But as I got older, even though I was in survival mode for most of my life, it was a long-term relationship that broke up. After 15 years, it was like a roller coaster ride, and
Yeah.
it became very, very toxic. So at that point, when we split, I checked myself into therapy because he was always saying, you're not right. You're not normal. He's always trying to fix me. So I'm like,
Oh
maybe I'm
gosh.
not normal. Maybe there's something wrong with me. But I realized after going to therapy that I had abandonment issues,
Hmm.
and I was feeding myself false beliefs.
Yeah.
I had self-limiting beliefs, and I wasn't aware of it. So I'm going to fast forward to the pandemic. Years had passed. I was 48 when I broke up with my
Yep.
ex. I'm now happily married. It's been 15 years.
Wonderful.
So yeah, I'm in a really happy place right now
Good.
in all aspects of my life. And that's why I do what I do, because I have been on that side of self-doubt and fear and worry
Yeah.
and pain and disappointment. And now to be in a place of joy and freedom and just waking up
Yeah.
every morning and just living in those higher frequencies. It's just like I want to give back. And especially for people our age
Yes.
who are not happy. And I guess it's the hippie chick in me that from the 60s, peace, love,
Yeah.
joy, and all
Yeah.
that stuff. It really is an amazing feeling. And for you to love your life and utilize what your God-given gifts are for not just yourself, but to give to others, is just like, it's beautiful.
So from when you finished all of your schooling, did you then continue on with the dancing? Did that become your career at that time through all these rocky relationships?
That's another story, Kat. I have stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I graduated high school, I had a best friend who I grew up with since like first grade, and we were in the theater world together. And he wanted to move to New York City, but I was living in fear, and I
Hmm.
didn't believe in myself. So at that point, he said, "We can get an apartment together." And I told him I would think about it, and I thought about it, and the answer was, am I good enough to
Ah, yes. Yeah.
compete with others that are already doing it, who are much
Hmm.
better than me?
I think
So
everyone who's a performer at some level faces that. That was the big thing on my shoulder all of my years too. Am I
yeah,
good enough? Who do you think you're
yeah,
kidding? There's so many
yeah.
better musicians out there.
Oh yeah. And we have to audition. We can't
Hmm.
just walk into a job and talk to a
Yeah.
person, and based on your personality, you really have to strut your stuff
Yeah.
in
You're
showbiz.
always being compared. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But you can't, you yourself can't compare yourself to others,
Yeah.
because you're unique. We're all unique. We have our own gifts to share with the world. And, somebody like, for me as a singer, I would go into auditions and I would hear like Mariah Carey-ish
Yeah.
voices.
Yeah.
They're riffing all over the place. That's not one of my strengths. I know what my strengths are, and it's
Hmm.
not that. And I'm like, oh, wow, how am I going to compete with that?
Yeah.
And I would be next. I would psych myself up. My vibrato would be out of
Yeah.
control. I'd be shaking. And
Yes.
so it just
Oh
works
gosh,
against
I
you.
relate to all of this. And
Yeah,
something
I'm
as a
sure you.
musician, the hardest part was you get the gig, and particularly if you were playing in an ensemble. So for a number of years, I'd kind of get the phone call when a big band was needed. That was over here in Auckland. And the thing that always did me in was the sound check, where every person along the line had to play into their mics. And all
Yes,
these
yes.
guys would whip out these incredible, really out there jazz licks. And that's not me.
Yeah,
I can do jazz, but not that type of complicated stuff. I'm more sort of
right.
heartfelt and slower and moodier. And I just feel like the
Mm,
idiot at the end of the line having to test my mic after that lot. It was
right, right.
really
I hear
so
you. I
exposing.
Yes. Oh, that's the word. You feel
Yeah,
exposed because you have to really show what you have.
yeah,
And then when you're comparing yourself to that other person who is different than you,
yep.
you're kind of like in your head,
Mm-hmm.
not in a good way.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Good
yeah.
times,
So
hey,
what
good
happened?
times.
Good times, good times. So after high school, when I got that offer from my friend to move to New York City, I thought about it and I just psyched myself out and I let the
Mm-hmm.
fear have me
Yeah.
instead of following my passions at that point. I decided to go to college and get a degree in elementary education. I'm
Oh,
not even good.
okay.
I'm not good with kids. I don't have my own kids. It was like the only reason I did it, Kat, was because I
It's
wanted my summers off.
a safe thing to do.
Is
And
that
yeah,
right?
holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the safe, secure thing to do, get a job.
Yes. Yes.
That didn't work out very well. I mean, I got my BS degree and it was for me, it turned out to be BS. It was just not in alignment with who I am.
Yeah.
And after graduating, there were no teaching jobs to be had. A
Oh, wow.
gift, a
Yeah.
gift. There it is. So kind of life throws you curves to lead you where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So at that point, I had gotten married at 22, divorced at 24. When I was 23, I got back into theater. I
Mhm.
had given it up for a little while. And my cast members were telling me about an audition in New York for a cruise ship. There's
Wow.
that good enough thing going on in my
Yeah.
head because I'm still living in Connecticut. I have not really done the New York thing. At that point, I was in the middle of getting divorced. And I'm like, what do I do next? Like many of your listeners might be going through, they're
Mhm.
newly divorced or they're in the process of it, or they're just at a very big change in their lives, like empty nesters. What do
Yep.
I do next? So I thought at that time, it was time for me to give it a shot. It was time for me to do what I love. So I went to the audition and it was kind of crazy because I had never been to New York on my own and I didn't know there were subways.
Wow. I mean, I've
Isn't that
never
crazy?
actually been
So,
there either. That's on my bucket list, but to me, it just looks massive.
oh, it is. But once you get to know it, it's not
Yeah.
massive. You just have to know where you're going. But I took the train from Connecticut to Grand Central Station. When you get out of Grand Central Station, there's a whole hub of subways to take you to different parts of the
Mhm.
city. I didn't know that.
Oh,
I
no.
had my dancing shoes on. I had heels on. And so I walked from Grand Central down to the Lower West Side, very long walk in heels. So my feet were killing me by the time I got there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care because New York is just magical. It's
Yeah.
magical. There's just so much to look at and see and smell, and you're just in it. It's energy. So when I got there, I was really excited and I was expecting a big casting call. It was just me. I had a
Oh,
private I had a private audition. I don't
oh,
know how it
wow.
happened. I don't know how it happened, but I wasn't as nervous because I was just excited to be there
Yeah.
and I nailed it, got the job, and that started my professional career at 24
Wow.
years old on a ship. I was making money,
Yeah.
traveling and doing what I love, and it's just, I didn't look back. I'm not saying that the ride through show business is easy because
No,
it's
it's
up
not.
and down.
Yeah.
But no, it's not. And sometimes you do need a side hustle. And I waited on tables for about 16 years,
Yeah.
16 years, but you do what you have
You do
to
it when
do
you've got
until you
when you've got
feel
that bigger
like,
picture, bigger goal in mind, though. You just do what it takes,
yes,
don't you?
you do. You absolutely do. You really have to face your fears. You have to take a risk sometimes if you want your life to become more of a purposeful,
Yeah,
fulfilling life.
absolutely. And it really does. Like, I think back to major changes in my life, and they were when I was brave enough to do something like that, to step right out of my box. It's that old meme, isn't it, that life begins at the end of your comfort zone. But it doesn't
So true.
necessarily make it any easier when you're trying to make that decision and muster the bravery to do it. And particularly, I find women at midlife are even that more reticent because they feel like they've got more to lose. Like, but if I do something now, I might lose my finances, or I might shake my family up, or what if I get it wrong? Like, you must encounter women who come to you going, well, wow, look at what you model, but I'm nervous about making changes and decisions. So you've morphed into life coaching. How do you kind of take what you've got and help women who are, struggling with change and transition themselves?
Well, what I do, well, first of all, I need to preface this by saying that my program is more heart centered, spiritually based.
Hmm.
And I think people need to know that they're more than just what they see in the mirror. We're more
Yeah.
than our bodies. And there's a power source that we all come from and we all emanate from, that's inside of us and
Hmm.
all around us, that we can capture. And it's always there for us and always has our back. So if we make a decision to do something that we're kind of afraid of, and we're afraid that things are not going to work out, if we really visualize that, if we imagine that it is working out, the universe is going to make things happen for us. There is a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson that says, once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. You have to trust that it will happen. You just have to take that what if factor in mind, as you have said in your 5 tips. What if it all works out?
Yeah.
Because it can. It can. We get to create our lives, with co-create with the universe. So my Dreambuilder program is a 12-week proven, reliable system of transformation. And it begins with people getting clarity in what they would love. I mean, how many people ask themselves, what would I love? In all aspects of their life.
I know it's
So
it's
it's,
but it's funny how many women can't articulate that, though. Well, not just women, men. And they'll go, I feel restless, I feel unfulfilled. I know this is a time in my life where I've got a bit of time to do things, but I don't quite know what it is. And they end up sitting around gazing at their navels, basically, just,
yeah,
and at
you're
some
right.
point, yeah, having something that can give you a clear vision of what it is you want in your next stage, that can be such a game changer, can't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to have clarity in what you want. It's kind of like programming a GPS. You
Yes.
have to put in a specific direction. Otherwise, it's not going to get you anywhere. The universe listens. It's like, oh, she wants to sing. Okay, let's provide some opportunities for her. See if she takes it, because it'll be there. So that's the first part. And then getting out of our own way.
Oh, yeah,
That's
that's a
huge
big one.
because
Yep.
yeah, so we have self-limiting beliefs and fears. And as Wayne Dyer has said, fear is false evidence appearing
Appearing
real.
real. Yes.
Yes.
It's such a powerful analogy. And it's so
Yeah.
true. It just holds us back. It becomes our excuse. And, you know,
Right.
one thing I find again at midlife, we've accrued so much wisdom, so much experience, but we also know how to make things sound good. And we can make our excuses sound legitimate and hide behind those things, and then be frustrated and watching other people going out living their dreams, and getting resentful of that. And yeah, fear's a biggie. We really need to face ourselves with fear, don't we?
We do. Fear is inevitable,
Yeah.
especially when you're on the edge of growth, because fear will be a companion. Anytime you make a decision to do something new that's
Yes.
foreign to you and uncomfortable, like even doing podcasts for me, talking about my life, I'm not used to, when I have a microphone in my hand, I'm usually singing,
Yeah.
and but this is different because this makes it real, because people resonate with authenticity
It's so true.
of the human
Yes.
nature. Yeah.
And it's funny,
So,
sorry, just interjecting there, because sorry, you just made me think of something. Because so many of us who are performers, I don't know what you're like in real life. I'm actually quite introverted in real life, but I find it intimidating too to get up and speak about myself, because when I'm on stage, I'm performing. I'm
yeah,
I'm doing a task that I'm trained to
yeah,
do. And so
right.
yeah, taking that barrier down and being vulnerable is a whole different thing, because when you're performing, you're doing everything to make yourself look like you've got it together.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
this didn't start for me until the pandemic, when I was writing. This is the book, by this is the cover,
Oh,
Power Up
lovely.
Your Dreams. So
Nice. That's a decent sized
during
book. How many pages is
it's
that?
259 pages, I think.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Like,
How
folks
how big is
listening
your
into
book?
the pod, oh, I can't remember actually. Mine are more bite sized because of doing the hacks, although my latest one, so my 21 hacks books are all around the 28,000 word mark, and then my midlife side hustle one is around 30,000 words. I'm not sure. I'm into bite size with action steps, but yours just looks beautiful. Wow.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. But it's something that I had in mind to do. But that's where I was going with the pandemic, because
Yeah.
before the pandemic, it was just me being la 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 la. I'm singing. I love my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then everything stopped.
Yeah.
And then I got COVID. I lost
Mm-hmm.
my singing voice for 6 months.
Oh,
And I
wow.
didn't know it. That was kind of crazy. And I thought
That's
maybe life was
huge.
prompting me to take a turn,
Yeah.
because I really, honestly, I could barely even talk at that time. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, go. So uh, I just, at that point, I was zoning into the spiritual part of myself. And I kept hearing the word, trust me, trust me, trust me,
Yeah.
for that guidance, that inner guidance. Our intuition is that higher power talking to us.
Yeah.
So I was zoning into that all the time that I couldn't sing, and I couldn't really. I was like, what do I do now?
Mm.
So none of us during the pandemic could do much of anything. There were no singing jobs to be had. Life just ceased to exist at
Yeah.
that time. So instead of scrolling through my Facebook messages one day, I decided to open up a Word document and I wrote my book. I
Yeah.
decided to write a book instead of doing nothing. I'm a doer. I need to be
Yeah.
active doing something. So I wanted to do something useful that could help others. And I
Yeah.
figured, let me use my life experience and the lessons that I learned along the way. So I'm like, for people that grew up like me
Mm-hmm.
in a state of not loving themselves
Yeah.
and just doubting everything and not feeling good enough or worthy, how can I help them? And I originally thought I would dedicate this to fatherless daughters, but then I was looking at a bigger picture of like what kept me going, and what kept me
Yes.
going were my passions. So I combined the two things about not feeling worthy and still going after your dreams, but getting out of your way so you can have your dreams
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
live a happy life. Doesn't everybody want to live a happy life? I mean, aren't we here to have fun and
Yeah.
experience everything?
Yeah.
So now, while I was writing the book, I decided to become the life coach, the Dreambuilder life coach,
Mm.
carry on the message of my book. And it's funny, one of the shows that I'm in, I'm in an 80s tribute band.
Oh, how
And
fun.
yeah,
Need a
it's a
sax
blast.
player?
Actually, we don't have a sax player. Come
Oh, I'll
on.
just pop on over. That'd be
It's all,
fun.
and and we have three females up front and a female keyboard player. You would fit right in,
Very
Kat.
cool. I'm tempted.
So we do a theater show. Yeah, you're tempted. I'll let you know if we decide to get a sax player. I know who to
Please do.
call. So anyway, we start out the show. The two girls that I work with are millennials, so they start out saying, "Oh, we don't, what's with this '80s music? It's so boring and everything." And I come in
Yeah.
as the fairy godmother,
Oh,
and I have a magic wand,
oh,
and I
how
say,
cool.
"I can help with that." So as I'm using the wand, I'm like, this is something that I use in my life coaching as well, because I tell people what if I had a magic wand? You have, be, do, experience anything. What could I give you? What if you were holding this wand and you could just turn it on at any time and have what you want? So I want people, because I've gone through the process of going from a state of not loving life to a state of thriving. I would love for midlife women to know that age means nothing. Age is up there. You can have what you want. You can create whatever you want. You just have to conceive it and believe it. What's the quote? You can conceive it, believe it to achieve it.
But I mean, I love that. You're right. We do cross over on so many levels. I am a Christian, so I do refer to God, and for me, that voice inside is the Holy Spirit. But it's the same. It's the same thing as what you're saying. It's being still enough to listen to what's that inner voice telling you. And then visualization, I mean, that's something I'm huge about. I've actually written about it in all of my 21 Hacks books. And it's a scientifically proven thing that, athletes who can see the goal, but not only see the goal, but see themselves doing the steps to achieve that goal, are the ones that actually have documented increase and, are achieving those goals without changing their physical regime in any way whatsoever. So you are absolutely on the nail here. It comes back to us. What do you want? Can you see it clearly? Can you picture it? Can you feel it? What does it look like, taste like, sound like?
Right.
And then picture that and then start making your steps to get there. And it's, we're on opposite sides of the world, but this is the same concept.
That's why I was saying we are like kindred spirits, just opposite ends. And I want to add to that, because aside from what's inside of us, what is inside of us it's actually science.
Yeah, it is.
Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, they both agree that we are energy, vibration, and frequencies. And what we put out is going to come back to us. If we're putting out an air of depression, what's going to come back to us? Just sadness and disappointment. But if we are expecting, if we set an intention every day to have a great day, you wake up, it's a great day to have a great day.
Yeah.
If we do that, that's going to set the tone for the whole day.
It really does. And it's amazing how even at midlife, we're still having to remind ourselves that we are the ones, if we don't have a happy family, what we're living in, that we actually have so much more power than what we realize just by our state and what we present and how we expect our family, our home, our life to be. It's incredible. I think we underestimate how much we can actually affect our situation. There may be external situations that are horrific, and I mean, let's face it, that's happening all around the world. It's happening here in New Zealand at the moment with all the flooding and the damage and everything. Yeah. But we still have the ability to affect our lives and the people in our world just through who we are, how we are, what we present to them. And that's a game changer.
And it is a game changer. And I think a lot of people aren't aware of who they are, why they're here, what's your purpose, what are your gifts, what do you like to do, what lights you up, so that was the intention of my book, is for people to become more self-aware, to develop a sense of self-love and compassion for yourself, enjoy your life, because we don't know, especially as the numbers get up. I mean, I don't know, are you in your 60s or are you in your 50s?
I'm in my 50s, but I'm 57, so 60s well and truly on the horizon.
Okay, all right. But as you get older, you're looking at 80. That's not too old. That's not too far away. But as we get older, it's the inevitable is going to happen. The human side of us will disappear. Yeah, everybody dies. Yeah, but our souls don't die. We just transition to the other side. So we have to make the best. Us, all of your listeners who are midlife people, we have to make the best of every single moment of the day. This is it. This is it. So we hope you're enjoying this episode, everybody.
We haven't freaked you out too much, but that is reality. Like, this is this amazing season that we have between, from many of us, the busy years of child raising to us being seniors ourselves. Like, this is the time to,
Right.
any dream that you've been sitting on, now is the time.
Now is the time,
Yeah.
especially for people whose kids are no longer in the house. What's next for you? What are you
Yeah.
doing now? Think about that, because life is a gift.
Yeah.
It's a true gift. So, what do you love to do? What puts you in a zone? You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, I love it. Look, seriously, we could go for ages. I feel like you're talking my book back at me, and I'm probably talking your book
I know.
back at you, because
Same
we're just
thing. Yes.
same language, same concepts.
Yes.
It just shows you how,
Mhm.
there are women like us who are realizing this in our lives and seeing it for other people, and it's a worldwide thing. So
Yeah.
grab this season you're in and live it with passion. I'm going to ask you, just before we start to wrap up here, what is a favorite quote, or what is a word of wisdom, or what is something you would like to leave our listeners with, that you would like them to go away and either think about or just grab onto? I mean, you've already shared so much, but what is
Just
one pearl?
one pearl. Ask yourself, remember to ask yourself, what would I love? And think about that. If there's a spark in you to do something, go for it. Nothing is stopping you but you.
I love that. And that can apply to anything.
Your time and money freedom, what you want to do with your time, what money would buy you,
Yeah.
is just the world is infinite possibilities out there for you.
Yeah.
It's up to you. You get to create it, co-create it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. What would you love? Well, Gloria, I'm
Yeah.
just so grateful for you coming on. And I'm so grateful for you chasing me down and reaching out to me in the first place. I'm just so glad you did, because wow, what a connection. And
I
man,
felt it right away.
yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't it be cool to stand on a stage one day? Oh, you
You
got me
never
thinking.
know.
New York's on the bucket list. You got me thinking. I
Mm,
might have to bring an instrument.
okay. There you go.
There we
Don't
go.
forget.
There we go. Thank you so much, Gloria. Everyone who's listening in, I'm going to have all of Gloria's links and her book and all of her details below in the show notes. Get into this lady's world. Yep, tell us what's on your mind.
I just wanted to let your listeners know that there is a free gift on my website for
That's
them.
right.
It's
Yes.
it's a worksheet on, yeah, it's a worksheet on clarity of what you would want, and also a guided audio visualization called Your Future Self.
Brilliant. Thank you for reminding me there.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yes,
look,
no, that's okay.
yeah. No, that is brilliant. Please, folks, get in there. Go grab that visualization. Go grab that worksheet. Get in her world. This lady is amazing. I'm sure that you're already hearing her passion and her joy coming through, whether you're listening or whether you're watching. So, yeah, go jump on all those links. Let her know that you heard her on this podcast, and check out what she's got to offer. She's amazing. So thank you again, everybody, for listening, for watching. Please make sure to subscribe, to leave a review, please, and to share this out so that other midlifers can be encouraged that they too can be rocking their midlife season.